day, children. I'm so happy you have joined today's session. I am Dr. Michelle. I help children express and cope with sad, angry, and anxious feelings in a good way. In today's session, we're going to do some arts and craft activities. There are going to be some things that you will need. I have them on the desk here. We have some crayons and glue and markers. We have a box, cereal box that you can get from the pantry. We have a jar, can be any jar. I have some yarns. I have clear paper. I have colored paper. I have some magazines, and we have regular office supplies. Now, before we go into this session, I want to make sure that you get the permission of your parents and your guardians to participate in the session. So I'll give you 30 quick seconds to run and get their permission. Better yet, get them to participate with you in these activities. Go ahead and go get their permission. All right, so thank you for getting their permission and returning to the session. So let's start. This virus called the COVID-19 has changed our lives drastically. Grown-ups call it a pandemic. You know what a pandemic is? Well, let me tell you, it's a disease that affects or impacts people all over the world. People get sick all over the world because of this disease. And because of this, we have several new rules. We can't play like we used to. We have to wash our hands more often than we used to. We can't go to school. Some of our parents can't go to work, or they have to work from home. This virus and what is going on around us, these changes and these new rules, can make us feel really sad, angry, and anxious. And one way of dealing with those feelings are to look for all the positives that are going on around us. We look for things to be grateful for. And so these activities are going to focus on some of those things. We're going to do 4 activities that is going to help us to focus on the things that we should be grateful for. Our first activity, we call it the gratitude board. But before you do this activity, I want you to do a breathing exercise with me. I want you to sit very quietly. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose. You're going to count 5. Then a deep breath out through your mouth. You're going to count 5 again. So do it with me. Deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Deep breath out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you, boys and girls, for participating in that activity with me. Now, that's the first thing that we need to be thankful for. We have breath. And so our first activity is to do, as I mentioned, a gratitude board that we're going to use the word life to come up with our own theme. So whenever we feel sad, we can just look at our gratitude board. And so for this gratitude board, we're going to use some materials. I have one here that I have already created. You're going to use some magazine clippings that I have here. Some words that I created on the computer, and I cut them out. You can also cut the words from the magazine, and some pictures that I've colored in, or you can just paste some words on. I've also used a cardboard behind this paper to make my gratitude board. So I use the word life to create my motto. So it is love, L, I is F for everyone. So let's say it with me. Love is for everyone. So you can create this and put it up, wherever you pass very often, whether it is on the fridge, in your bedroom, or somewhere that you can pass by and you can see. I also use a piece of yarn to make it hang, and then I use a hard cardstock paper to put my words on. And you can use life to make any motto you want. This is one that I know you would love. Learning is forever easy. I know you would love that because it's good to know that learning is forever easy. This is another one. Living is finding my energy. All right, that's another one, LIFE. And then there's another one, living is for everyone. So I want you to think of your own words that you could spell with the word life, LIFE, and create your own gratitude board. You can be as creative as you want. You can use any materials that you have around the house, and you put it somewhere that you can always look at, just to remind you of what life is, the positive thing about life. All right, so this is our first activity that you can participate in. All right, I hope you enjoyed that one to work with your parents. And then we have a second activity. We call this the gratitude box. Let's say it with me, the gratitude box. With this, you're going to create a box. And you can take any cereal box, or I have here a pancake box, or you can take a jar. You can also create your gratitude jar. And what you're going to do is decorate your box with things that make you feel happy, or things that are positive in your life. I love to eat, and so I have my box with pictures of food. I also love to be around my family, so I have a section of the box with pictures of my family. I also love to exercise. I have another part of that box with pictures of money and a bicycle that will help me to keep fit. And so I create this box. I tape or glue different pictures on this box, and I left a space at the top so I can drop some things that I'm grateful for. So what I would instruct you to do is create this box, put it at the side of your bed. Each morning you wake up, you take a slip of paper and you write something that you're grateful for. I am happy to be alive this morning. I am happy that it's Saturday. I am happy that it is Monday. I'm happy that I'm home with my family. And you take that piece of paper and you drop it in a jar. And what you're going to do is decorate your box with things that make you feel happy, or things that are positive in your life. I love to eat, and so I have my box with pictures of food. I also love to be around my family, so I have a section of the box with pictures of my family. I also love to exercise. I have another part of that box with pictures of money and a bicycle that will help me to keep fit. And so I create this box. I tape or glue different pictures on this box, and I left a space at the top so I can drop some things that I'm grateful for. So what I would instruct you to do is create this box, put it at the side of your bed. Each morning you wake up, you take a slip of paper and you write something that you're grateful for. I am happy to be alive this morning. I am happy that it's Saturday. I am happy that it is Monday. I'm happy that I'm home with my family. And you take that piece of paper and you drop it in your gratitude box. And whenever you're feeling anxious or sad about what's going on around you, you can take your gratitude box, take out a slip of that paper and you can read something that makes you feel happy and something that is positive. Even just looking at your gratitude box would give you some feelings of happiness. And so that's another simple activity that you can do to deal with any anxious, angry, or sad feelings that you have because of what's going on. It's looking at the positive and identifying things to be grateful for. All right, I hope you enjoyed that activity. Then next, we have a third activity. This one is very simple. I'm sure you probably do it already. It is creating a thank you card. Now, one way of dealing with the change and different things around us, things that makes us feel sad or angry, is to be grateful for those around us. During this time, there are many people around us who are keeping us safe and helping us. There is the mailman, there are persons who are at Walmart, there are persons who are taking up our trash. And so what I have done here, again, I use the same yarn, and then I take a hard cardstock paper, thick cardstock paper, and I have it in the shape of a love. You can do it in whatever shape you like. You can do a square, a triangle, or a star. The important thing is that you have holes to hold it together, and then you can use whatever string you have, or if you just have stapler. And what I would suggest you do here is you can decorate the front of your card with whatever you like, right? For example, if I'm doing this for a nurse, I may put a nurse as a superhero. You can even draw it on, and then in the inside of the card, you write, "You are my superhero. Thank you for keeping us safe." That's just one example. And then what I'll ask you to do is get an envelope, or just give it to them like this, and ask your parents if you could give this gratitude card to the person that you want to express thankfulness to, right? You want to thank them. Clippings, whatever you like. You can even use stickers to illustrate your story. So this is what you're going to write your story in. So let's go into how you write your story. All right, there are going to be 4 parts of your story that you're going to need to have. First, you're going to want what's going to be in the content of your story. And I suggest 4 things because of what we're dealing with around us. You want some strange or mysterious illness or something that is strange or mysterious as one element of your story. And then you also want a group of people or animals or thing that is going to be affected by this strange or mysterious illness. And then you also want a part of your story to include a treatment or a cure, something that's going to save the people from this strange or mysterious illness. And then the last part of your story is going to include where this group of people overcame this strange and mysterious illness and things went back to normal, but may still be a little bit different, right? The next part, so that's going to be the content of your story, or what's going to be included in your story. The next section, you're going to think about your characters, right? What's going to be the different people or things in your story. For my story, the group of people or animals that is affected, the group of people that's affected by this illness, I call them the Nooks. And I describe them as little green people because they have green skin. And then the strange and mysterious illness, which is the enemy in my story, I call them the sea aliens. And they came to the Nooks, where the Nooks live, and they released a mist that caused the Nooks, or the group of people in my story, to be ill. And then you need a good story, needs a hero or a superhero or a warrior, right? And for my story, these heroes were children. They were twin siblings, and they are called Ta Small and Tana Small, and their parents were Ta and Tana. I also have an Aunt Tina in my story. I have a wise owl, and I have leaders of the little green people. So those are the characters in my story. And then I have the other part of your story. So let's review. The first part is the content of your story. The second part is the characters of your story. And then the third part is the time and place of your story. We call those the settings. And for me, my group of people, which were called the Nooks, they live in the jungle and they eat from the trees and they drink from the rivers of the jungle. My sea aliens were the enemies that came from outer space. And then Ta and Tana were the parents of the children, Ta Small and Tana Small, who found the cure from the wise old owl who lives in the mountains. So let's recap. My settings are the jungle. The Nooks live in the jungle. The sea aliens came from outer space. The Ta Small and Tana Small went to visit the wise owl who lived in the mountain. And then finally, you can't have a good story without a title. You need a title for your story. Your title should include something about saving someone or something from something else, or defeating something, or defending something. So you can come up with your own title. For my story, the title is called Saving the Nooks from Sea Aliens. And so now I'm going to go through my story. Hope you enjoy it. Saving the Nooks from Sea Aliens. The Nooks were little green people who lived in the jungle and disguised themselves by blending in with the trees of the forest. The Nooks were joyful people. They ate insects for their food and drank water that flows through the forest and went into the river. They lived in secret. No one knew that they existed except the sea aliens. The sea aliens lived in outer space. They used a special telescope to spy on those in the earth. But because the Nooks lived in secret, they wanted to be like the Nooks because they couldn't understand the Nooks. And so one day, when the Nooks were sleeping, the sea aliens covered the jungle of the Nooks with a light mist. No one could smell it. No one could see it. Then in the morning, Ta and Tana, like they usually do, went out to gather food for their 10-year-old twin children, Ta Small and Tana Small. Upon returning home, Ta and Tana started to feel sick. Their green-colored skin started to turn red, and then they had very high fever. Ta Small and Tana Small felt very afraid, and so they called their Aunt Tina to come and help. Tina is Tana's sister. Tina called the ambulance, and Tana, Ta is the dad, Tana is the mother, went to the hospital. Within a couple of days, other Nooks in the jungle started to feel sick. No one knew where this mystery illness came from. The leaders of the jungle gave the Nooks some new rules. They told the Nooks to stay home, stay away from others, stay away from each other, and wash their hands every day. More often, and a lot more often than they were used to. Everyday activities in the jungle changed. It was not the same. All the school closed, and some people were not able to go to work like before. Even some parents had to work from home. Ta Small, which is the boy, and Tana Small, which is the girl, missed their parents, Ta and Tana. Their parents were in the hospital. And they felt really sad about not seeing their parents and not playing with their friends at school, not even playing with their neighbors next door. But they had fun playing with Aunt Tina. They were happy they didn't have to wake up to go to school early anymore, and they could play most of the day. Days went by and they had to stay in. But after a while, they became very anxious. They wanted to get out. They wanted things to get back to normal. Ta Small and Tana Small remembered their parents told them about a story. The story of a wise owl who lives deep in the forest. And so they decided to visit this owl for answers. The wise owl sees everything that happens in the nooks. They beg their Aunt Tina, please, 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 take us to go see this owl. Aunt Tina also wanted answers, and so she agreed. The next day, just before sunrise, they put on their masks to keep themselves safe, took some extra insects to eat for food, and left the house to visit the wise owl. They walked for hours. They were tired, but by midday, they arrived in the mountains, and they went in to see the owl. The mountain was dark and damp and scary, but Ta Small and Tana Small wanted answers. And so they went in, and the wise owl was impressed. He was impressed by these children's bravery, and he told them all about the sea aliens. He explained that this mystery illness started when the mist came down and affected the insects in the jungle, and people ate the insects themselves and then became sick and started to spread the illness by coughing and sneezing. And the wise owl sees everything that happens in the nooks. They begged their Aunt Tina, please, 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 take us to go see this owl. Aunt Tina also wanted answers, and so she agreed. The next day, just before sunrise, they put on their masks to keep themselves safe, took some extra insects to eat for food, and left the house to visit the wise owl. They walked for hours. They were tired, but by midday, they arrived in the mountains, and they went in to see the owl. The mountain was dark and damp and scary, but Ta Small and Tana Small wanted answers. And so they went in, and the wise owl was impressed. He was impressed by these children's bravery, and he told them all about the sea aliens. He explained that this mystery illness started when the mist came down and affected the insects in the jungle, and people ate the insects themselves and then became sick and started to spread the illness by coughing and sneezing and touching other nooks. The wise owl gave the children a bottle of medicine that can heal people from this mysterious illness. Ta Small and Tana Small were very excited. Now they have a cure. They have treatment. Their parents are going to get better. And so they rushed with their aunt to the elders and the leaders of the village to take this treatment to them. The leaders were very happy for the treatment, and they started distributing or giving the treatment to the nooks of the village. But the wise owl, Ta Small and Tana Small, remember one warning that the wise owl told them. He said to them, this medicine is going to help the nooks get better, but they still have to keep safe. And one way of keeping safe is still washing their hands and covering their cough from spreading the illness. And so Ta and Tana Small remember to tell the elders that warning. People, after spreading the medicine, giving the medicine to those in the nooks that were sick, Ta and Tana Small got a medal for their bravery and for saving the nooks from the sea aliens. They were super happy. People became joyful again. The mystery illness was no more a mystery. The illness came from the midst of the sea aliens. And so the children went back to school. All the grown-ups went back to work. And everything went back to normal. But some of the rules continued in order to make the nooks safe. They had to keep washing their hands and to cover their cough. But everyone was joyful again. The end. Well, I hope you enjoyed that story and I hope you create your own. I want you, based on the guideline or the guide that I provided, come up with your own story. The story is a way for you to express how you feel about what's going on around us and a cure or overcoming what's going on around us, a good way to overcome what's going on around us and to understand what's happening. So again, follow the guideline, think about your storyline, what's going to be included in your story, the characters of your story, the setting and the time of your story, and also the title of your story. So let me say that again. Your storyline, the content of your story, the characters of your story, the time and place of your story, and the title of your story. It's called Saving the Nooks from Sea Aliens. We would love to hear from your story, so please email us your story. I hope you enjoyed this session. Have a good day, boys and girls. Thank you.